to get going. Gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream, Wednesday, February 5th. S&P futures down 13, NASDAQ down 128. Russell is up 9, and the Dow is unchanged, up 6 points. Gold is up about a third of a percent. Silver's down a little over 0.5%. Notes and bonds are green. 10-year yield down 1.2. Oil down about 1.3, natty gas down 1.3, soybeans red, wheat and corn green, euro and the pound up about a third of a percent, Bitcoin pretty flat, VIX contracting at the freeze, sitting under 17 at 16.96. We do have ISM services at 9 a.m. Central, so 30 minutes after the market opens. And that is... I don't know. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. I don't see that moving the markets much, typically. VIX contracting, so I'm not going to enter a 1 DTE. I will enter a RIC at the open, and then a late RIC as well. Got a few calendars that I'll need to post when they close. Otherwise, the RIC and the calendar closings are the only thing I need to do. Otherwise, I'll be focused on the day trading. I posted a little summary of kind of the notes that I take, or kind of the morning prep that I do for day trading, to, have kind of dial in where I want my focus to be as far as long bias stocks, short bias. And so we've got NVIDIA and AVGO are pushing higher even after AMD's earnings miss. So it appears that they are taking that as a benefit. AMD, of course, down, which also Amazon and Apple and Google are all down. Google had earnings as well. So those are on my short bias list. And then Chinese stocks are down. Baba, Baidu, PDD are all lower. So those are kind of my... And then Crowd, I put on there, it's still kind of... It's not super strong this morning, but it's green. And it's hovering right under all-time highs. I left on a couple of long calls from my yesterday trades in Crowd. So looking for a potential move into all-time high territory. So we'll be watching that one as well. Got about 10 seconds till the bell. Trading 2 DTE options today. Here we go. Expected move in SPX. It's around 31. I'll get that marked on my charts. Yesterday was over 43. Put that in a little perspective. NDX. Expected move about 141.4. Yesterday was 168. So Coinbase is strong and MSTR is green, even though Bitcoin just went green too, I guess. It was a little bit red pre-market. So crypto, I'm kind of either way. I'm not bullish on it, not bearish. Just kind of wait and see. If it kind of shows its hand, then I'll potentially get involved in a crypto stock, but NVIDIA is pushing. AVGO is now coming down. I'm going to mark the pre-market high on NVIDIA. Which is basically the last bar right there before we opened. Kind of opened at its pre-market highs. Microsoft trying to go green. Tesla is weak. Meta is also right under all-time highs, but it's not very strong. Boeing's making a push. AMD's staying weak. Just got filled on my RIC, so let me get that posted. All right, NASDAQ coming down. Tesla's coming down. I'm going to mark the pre-market lows in Tesla as a potential line in the sand. Boeing is pushing. CrowdStrike, just kind of chopping around. MSTR and coin coming down. MSTR is red now. Coin's still green. Coin's still up over 1%. So it's definitely acting strong. And Bitcoin's coming down too. So relative to Bitcoin, coin is acting a little bit strong to start. Meta is above yesterday's highs. Just under all-time highs. So we'll put Meta on the strong list here. Microsoft going green. NVIDIA, really strong. What's AVGO doing? AVGO is not holding up. NVIDIA's been beaten down. It may be ready to get back in the game. Amazon's staying weak. Google's staying weak. So Google closed below its pre-market lows, and it's right back there. I'm gonna give it a minute, see what it does here. I mean, the overall market's not very strong, but NVIDIA, a little pullback to pre-market highs. You could look at a long in NVIDIA. No, I didn't take any earnings trades yesterday. All of them are down. Uber, Disney, Google, AMD, all down. I didn't take any. Oh, Meta's going. Robinhood's pushing. Crowd's moving higher. Okay, so Google popped back up. Yeah, check the positions and updates, Dark Avenger. It's all there. Look at Meta go. Meta new all-time highs. All right, so crowd came back down right to its pre-market high. I'm going to take a long upside runner in crowd. CRWD 410 calls. 410 calls in crowd. Filled at 693. So closed above the pre-market high, closed above yesterday's high, dipped back down. Looks like it's bouncing. It's just under all-time highs. See if we can get a rip through. Need a move like Meta. First profit target I'll put at 780. Hit. Filled at 780. I did 3 contracts, so I only got out of 1. Because I think this thing's going to move, so I'll leave 2 on instead of 1. Microsoft getting strong. Baba is getting strong. I'll put another order at $9 in crowd if it pops. Uber staying weak after gapping down after earnings this morning. Google trying to bounce here. Nvidia falling now. Let's see, AVGO still falling. AMD is staying weak. I'm gonna get short AMD here. Below the pre-market lows. 106 puts in AMD. $106 puts in AMD. Filled at 179. Crowd came back down to my entry. Meta still pushing higher. No volume bars that I saw, by the way, after the second 5-minute bar. Oh, Boeing. Boeing had a volume bar. It already kind of dipped and bounced. Robinhood back in the green, looking strong. See if NVIDIA wants to hold yesterday's highs. Oh, crowd did tick a new all-time high before reversing. I don't like that reversal after hitting all-time highs. AMD's bouncing. Baba, nice bounce. Ugh. There's a nasty bounce in AMD. I'm gonna have to bail. I'll give it a minute here, but that's not what I was looking for. Look at NVIDIA, popped right back up. Chips. AVGO is now bouncing. MU's bouncing. All the chips are bouncing. I like to wait for this bar to close before I get out and see if it was a head fake or not. Probably just closing for loss on AMD. Microsoft in green territory, Meta staying strong. Okay, so it retraced half of that bar. Give it just a minute before I close. Got my finger on the trigger to close AMD though. Here, I'll bring this over. So I got AMD and crowd right here. Boeing, nice volume runner working. All right, so AMD just made a quick little pop and it's coming back down, so I'll give it a little more time. Crowd is holding for now. So that's a good example why you wait for it to close. Now it did close above the pre-market high, which is, my line in the sand, but just I mean it was coming down so quick after that bounce, and it was pretty wicky up there on the previous two bars too. So that's why I gave it just a little bit longer. Nvidia kind of chopping under its highs, Meta pushing new highs. Meta just didn't really give me any opportunity for an entry there. Netflix is bouncing. Netflix is getting a little mighty 90 volume. Looking at the daily chart of Netflix, it popped all-time high yesterday and had a pretty decent sell-off. Might want another piece of that action. Right now it's getting some little mighty 90 volume pop though, as it's peaking above pre-market highs. Crowd's holding. I was considering adding back into crowd, but just holding for now. And AMD still just hanging out right there at the pre-market lows. S&P and NASDAQ are both red, but they've pushed up a little bit since the open. Yeah, ISM here in about 10 minutes, but not something I'm going to do anything about. May see a little price gyration. All right, so crowd and AMD just chopping. Boeing, nice volume runner in Boeing. Anybody catch that? Didn't give you much of a pullback, but quick little dip and rip. Crowd starting to pop back up. NVIDIA, no follow through, just chopping. MSTR went red. Coin's about to go red. Bitcoin is pretty much unchanged. Let's see. Uber had earnings. It's still, yeah, it's just kind of chopping. Disney. What's Disney doing? Disney is green. We'll pull back in Netflix off that little volume pop. Anyone took a short. I like the Mighty 90 setup. I was already in two positions, so what I like about it, obviously the volume separation and the price push, but the pop above pre-market highs right at that same time as well. I like when it pops above a level with that volume push. All right, AMD coming back down for us. Man, I must have gotten some pretty decent decay in those options. I'm still down a couple $100, even though it's back down. S&P back down to lows of day. Crowd was trying to bounce. It's back down. Microsoft back in the red. Apple's holding up. Meta's holding up. Nvidia's holding up. See if crowd is going to stay green or if it just wanted to tick all-time highs and done for the day. Tesla still weak under its pre-market lows, chopping. Man, Microsoft really reversed. AMD, no follow through to the downside. I think I'm on the Pro. I think the Elite was announced or offered later, and I don't think I did that one. I think I'm just on the Pro. Crowd coming down. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get out of crowd. Filled at 525. And AMD bouncing. That is the opposite of what I wanted. Give AMD a second here. Could have held on the crowd a little longer too. I mean, we've still got a couple minutes here and it bounced a little bit, but S&P is falling through lows of day. VIX is back above 17. All right, I'm going to close AMD. Out at 104. Man, I got some serious premium decay on those AMD puts, which should be expected a little bit after earnings. There's a lot of premium still in there that gets sucked out. All right, so I wanted to look at what's Google doing. Watching Google, it's back under its pre-market lows. Nvidia staying strong, Apple staying strong. Baba is down still, but price action is strong. Crypto's weak. A lot of chips bouncing, MU bouncing. AVGO now bouncing. TSM is really pushing. Wow. Nice bounce back in the S&P. That was the little ISM number that just came out. Caused that little shimmy. Still watching Google for a short here. All right, I'm going to get short Google. 190 puts. 190 puts in Google. Filled at 181. So it came back down below the pre-market low here. Kind of bounced back up to it. It's looking weak. The market S&P bounced, but it's kind of fading quickly. Nvidia's still pushing. Amazon back up to yesterday's lows. Coin had a nice mighty 90. Nice volume pop, bouncing. Yeah, every bounce getting pushed down in crypto stocks. And Bitcoin. Pretty choppy so far, pretty choppy. Meta, decent little pullback off of highs. S&P back down, NASDAQ heading towards lows. Need Goog to flush here. Looking pretty gnarly on the indexes. Come on, Goog. Where's my flush? Not like this. The indices flushing. Goog is just kind of barely moving lower. I want to get out of, I'll do my first profit target near lows of day. So I'm going to put it at 205 in Goog. Tesla through lows of day. Man, I would have expected some better action in Goog with that flush. Coin down to yesterday's lows. Man, NVIDIA strong. NVIDIA said down move? I don't think so. So that's a really good example too of like when not to take a mighty 90. So you got pretty decent little volume pop on the up move, which would say, you might think, oh, I'm going to go short mighty 90. But if you compare that, with the whole relative strength concept that I was talking about last week, I mean, look at what the index was doing. And at the same time, NVIDIA didn't move. So that's definitely not a short I would want to take. Frankly, I'm not real thrilled about staying in Google because it didn't really flush with the indices either. It's getting weaker, but MSTR down to yesterday's lows. S&P down about 0.5%. NASDAQ the weakest. Russell still green. Dow down about 0.45. Bitcoin down almost 1%. Tesla's weak. Weak. Apple rolled over. Some of these other chips that were bouncing came down. AVGO back down to lows of day. AMD's just chopping. S&P and NASDAQ, little bounce. Now NVIDIA reversing a little bit. NVIDIA is kind of marching to the beat of its own drum today. S&P and NASDAQ bouncing. Now it's kind of coming down. Goog could not punch through lows of day on that move down. Let's see if it's going to give it another go here. We need NVIDIA to come down. Everybody down. All the big boys. Let's make it a team effort. All right, here comes Goog. Maybe just a little delayed reaction. Goog has on the daily chart Goog has a couple different little swing lows back in from January. There we go. Hit Google at 205 to close. I closed, let's see, I started with 13, closed 7, so a little over half. Robinhood bounced back up towards highs of day. Coinbase tried to bounce. MSTR tried to bounce, coming back down. I'm gonna put another order in 240 on Goog in case we get a quick move lower. Wouldn't take too much. PLTR. Should be in the 0 DTE trades channel. Yeah, so I did the earnings fly, which is this here. So it's up a few hundred. It comes down obviously towards the peak. I don't have an order in right now. I had an order yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in. I'll close 2 of 6. I'll put the order at 250. So if it comes back down, I'll close some. And then the next day, post earnings, I did a bullish VRR. It gapped up above its expected move, and so I was looking for a potential continuation. And that one's down a little bit, and then so together they look like this, where if we stay between 98 and 113 between now and Friday, book minimum profit. If it comes down, we'll hit our butterfly peak. If it pushes above 116, that would be the max profit on that call vertical. Big bouncing coin and MSTR. Crypto is coming to life. Wow, S&P and NASDAQ bounce. I like how Goog is now staying weak, even though the S&P and NASDAQ bounced. That's a good sign. Yeah, I think Boeing's done. I mean, it had that big volume push, but then it had another big push with a volume spike that looks like exhaustion to me. Let me look at the daily chart. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. Tesla back to lows. Tesla is just not in a good mood lately. If you're long. Apple all the way back down towards lows of day. Amazon popped up to yesterday's lows and pre-market lows. Amazon could have gotten short on Amazon here. I'm already short Goog, and they were acting pretty correlated after the earnings announcement. So I'm just going to stick with Goog for now. But Today is a day where I'm taking profits quick. In other words, I'm definitely not trying to hold a runner all day. Google hit 240. So I've got three of 13 left in Goog. I'll try to shed two more I'll just put it in order at 270. Yeah, crowd, man. Crowd didn't have any follow through all-time highs. It just literally ticked it and bailed. It's just kind of chopping near unchanged now. AMD doesn't know what it wants to do either. It's back down, sitting right at pre-market lows. Coinbase tried to go green, coming back down. Hood is acting like it wants to run higher. It's just under all-time highs. What do you mean from a liquidity standpoint? It's definitely a secondary type trade. I just like the price action near all-time highs, but yeah, 20 cents, 25. Yeah, I mean, it's on a $400 stock. It's not bad. Yeah, definitely not something definitely not a stock I'm holding for my kids or anything, but it's tradable. Man, I think Hood's gonna run here. Crypto kind of acting like it. Bitcoin kind of acting like it. Well, actually, Bitcoin looks weak. MSTR and coin had a nice bounce. Yeah, I'm gonna pass. I think Hood's gonna run, but doesn't really have much supporting, not much support behind it. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Hood's been on fire. Hood's doubled in the last 2 months. Nvidia back down to its pre-market highs. Yeah, there goes Hood. Hood up to no good. So I don't think I finished my thoughts on this. So on Google, it's got a couple of levels here from January where it bounced. So I'd like to see it come down and try to sweep those lows. SPX bouncing, NASDAQ bouncing, VIX coming down, Coinbase popping. Oh my, look at Hood. Gotta love when you think you know what's gonna happen, you just don't do anything about it. I just love these situations where you get these stocks that are just under all-time highs and they start creeping up towards that level and they just a lot of times they'll just start to accelerate. Hasn't pushed through yet. Just poked through yesterday's high. Boeing showing a little bounce if you got in that continuation runner, Dark Avenger. Oh, late Rick. Late Rick just fired. Yeah, so as far as let me put Hood on the screen here just to talk about it. So like Hood is pretty correlated to crypto and sometimes it'll move with like coin and MSTR and Bitcoin. But if you look at Bitcoin, I mean it's weak. It's still red. It's starting to bounce a little bit off the bottom here, but it's definitely doesn't look strong. Looking at a daily chart, I mean, it had that big bounce a couple days, but it finished really weak yesterday. So I could certainly see, it having this, opening up here and then make another leg lower. So had crypto and crypto related stocks been stronger, I probably most likely would have gotten in Hood, but that's the reason I didn't. Still going. It is 2 cents away from all-time highs now. Goog just chopping near the lows. Microsoft starting to bounce. S&P and NASDAQ back above the open. Pretty choppy day. Pretty choppy. Bob, I showed a little strength early. It's falling apart. Wouldn't be against another attempt at AMD short. It's back down to pre-market lows. I want to see a little bit more. A little bit more confirmation before I'd get in, but could take another stab at that one. Goog starting to creep lower again. Goog not participating at all in this bounce, so that's good. So metals are the strongest, real estate strong, healthcare, financials. SMH is up 0.5%, retail is up. Crypto and Chinese stocks are the weakest. And Tesla. Tesla's down 3% almost. Holy moly, look at that volume bar and hood now. All right. Well, maybe hood still has some more juice. If we can get a pullback, I might still get in head on a volume runner. I would trade the 54 calls. $54 calls in hood. Filled at 90 and 92 cents. Hopefully that wasn't the exhaustion volume bar. I mean, it didn't. I mean, if it was, I just I like where it's at. You know, it kind of crept back up the last few days up to all-time highs. And so let's see. I think it's got more juice in it. I think it's got more in the tank. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be pretty quick to cut. S&P and NASDAQ pulling back. Meta, a little pullback. Pulled right back down to the bottom of the price bar where it had the big volume, which is also yesterday's highs. So it's got to hold. It's got to hold this level. Bitcoin to get strong is what we need. Google just chopping near the lows. Coin is now green. MSTR still red, but nice bounce off the lows. Well, you don't get paid for making calls, boys. Similar to Tesla yesterday, right? If you guys were on the Power Hour live stream, I had some day trades in Meta and Crowd, and so I didn't want to take another one, but Tesla started getting strong, pulled back to its previous day's pre-market high. It was right here on this bar, on that 1420 bar. When it pulled back there, I said Tesla is gonna rip. And I was like, I kind of want to get in here. And I was kind of talking through it. And then I was like, yeah, Tesla's going, Tesla's moving, and then boom. But guess what? I didn't get in. So it means nothing. That's right. You can say the Chiefs aren't going to win the Super Bowl, but where's your bet? I mean, 3 years in a row, you could say the Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl. What happened? All right, so I got a short runner in Goog, and I'm long hood. I'll stay on here a couple more minutes to see if we get any action in hood. S&P and NASDAQ, little dip, got bought up pretty quick. That's what makes me laugh about, some of these quote unquote traders on Twitter. Love to brag about their calls. Like, did you even really trade that? It's all in hindsight. It's all after the fact. SPX and NDX creeping back up, a few points away from highs of day. NVIDIA popping back up, came back down, retested pre-market highs and bounced. AVGO also bouncing. AMD staying weak. TSM back up to highs today. So a lot of these chips bouncing. AMD's back down to being weak. All right, if AMD holds under its pre-market lows here, I'm gonna get back in. Ooh, look at Tesla finally coming to life. Little flush below yesterday's lows. Goog starting to bounce. Hood just sitting there. It's taking a breather after that big push it had. It's tired. No, AMD popped back up. So no go for now on that one. All right, all. I'm gonna get off here. Long hood, tiny short runner, tiny put runner in Goog. Took a loss on AMD and Crowd. And things are pretty choppy, so I'm not sure how much more day trading I'll do, but if I do, or at the end of the day, I'll be posting my results anyway. All right, all. Have a great day, and we'll see most of you at Power Hour. Cheers. Have a good one.